If you're looking for the best Battlefield 6 settings, you've come to the right place. We're going to go over all the settings that you need to adjust in this upcoming beta that started, well, today. We will be adjusting settings over on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but if you're on a PS5 or an Xbox, you can also use these settings, and even in some cases on PC. So we're going to go over to the accessibility, and we're going to first off want to turn off controller vibration because you don't want that to impact your aim in any way at all. So if that's off, you don't even need to worry about these other settings. Next, we're going to want to look at gameplay settings. So we're going to go down to our infantry aim sensitivity. 20 is quite low. Obviously, adjust this to where you see fit. I personally found 40-ish to be around a sweet spot. You're going to want to definitely go in there and just adjust that as needed, right? So maybe you want a little faster, maybe you want a little slower. It'll be up to you there. You may also want to adjust other sensitivity on vehicles as well. That's totally your choice if that's something you want to do. The rest of these settings with infantry is pretty much a comfort level. So you're going to want to adjust these as you see fit. So whether that be double tap forward for sprint, some people enjoy that. Some people don't. Some people like auto sprint. It depends on what your gameplay is like and what you prefer. Personally speaking, I don't really change any of these things myself. I'm pretty comfortable with the way these things are. Next, we want to go down to the graphics, and you're going to want to take a look at performance preset. Typically speaking, if you want a competitive edge, you're going to want to go performance mode. You're going to get much higher frame rates, and depending on your display, whether you have VRR or not, you may be able to get even more frames per second. We know on PS5 Pro, we're looking at about 120 frames per second. If you're on Xbox or base Xbox and base PS5, you're seeing as much as 60, and in some cases a little higher than that, but expect that you're not going to be seeing much more than that if you're on the base console. Next, we want to take a look at field of view. And this is another thing where you're going to adjust it to your comfort level. Personally speaking, if you're on a monitor, especially if it's close up, I find 120 to be the perfect spot for it, at least for me. If you find a little bit less to be better, you can always do that. But 120 is where I like it, where I can see more on the screen. This is going to be what gives you more field of view as far as what you see on a screen and how much you're seeing. So the higher it is, the more you're seeing. Ideally, at least in my case, I like to get 120 on the field of view. Some people say 105, some people say 100, and there are some who actually swear by less than that. Personally speaking, that's where I like to have it. Vehicle for third-person field of view as well, I crank up all the way. That's just something I prefer. But again, if you guys like to have a narrower field of view, you can always go for that as well. As far as world motion blur goes, we want to crank that all the way down. Weapon motion blur all the way down. Camera shake amount all the way down, as it's going to make it feel more cinematic. But if we're talking about actually having that performance edge, being able to, be competitive as possible and not having as many distractions, you want to put all those things down to the bottom. Chromatic aberration, we're going to turn that off. Vignette, turn that off. Film grain, turn that off. And it's going to make it a lot cleaner when you're playing this game. You're going to see more. The clarity will be where you need it to be. As far as these other stats go, where interface and HUD, I would adjust those as you see fit. Personally speaking, I don't have an issue with those being on, but some people will actually go out of their way to turn those off as well. So if you feel you want to turn those off, you can always go ahead and do that as well, but I personally keep them on. Now next, we're going to want to adjust some controller settings. So we're going to want to go to edit settings. We're going to go to control settings and modify under infantry. So we want to go down to uniform infantry aiming, and basically what this does is this really slows us down. If we're aiming down the sights and we're trying to quickly move around, it's going to slow us down. So if we turn this off completely, it's going to get rid of that effect, and we're going to be able to guide our crosshairs a lot faster when aiming down the sights. So having that off is ideal. There are a few other things that we can adjust here as far as aim input curve, zoom aim input curve, and stick input acceleration presets, and you can adjust those things as well as aiming left and /right acceleration. So the faster you make this, the faster, or the higher you make the number, the faster you're going to be able to look around. Now obviously you don't want to make that too fast because you still want to be able to be in control and aim accurately, but if you find it's too slow and you can handle faster sensitivities, you can always increase that and it'll go a lot quicker. And as you adjust these settings, you can always just jump into the firing range and really test out the guns and the aiming and just see how you're feeling overall about the settings that you're adjusting. And once you find what you like, you just stick with it and jump into a game. And those are some quick tips I have for you guys for Battlefield 6. I hope you guys enjoy the beta this weekend, and I look forward to launch day.